You ready?
Good deal.
Okay, so
We just did.
it's time to call the Elizabethton Board of Education March 18th meeting to order. At this time, if everyone would please stand, I ask Mr. Van Huss to lead us in a moment of silence and the pledge to the flag.
Please pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's time to approve the consent and regular agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Can I make a motion we combine the two board policies and just do one vote on those? Would that be okay? That one?
Okay.
Just the first reading? Or
Any
That's
questions
fine.
there? The B and C under the regular agenda, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
To combine those two, anybody have an issue?
And then I'll make a motion to approve the regular
Okay.
consent agenda as well.
So do we have to vote on moving, changing those?
I think you can, since he made that motion, I think you can do it all in one motion now.
Okay, so he's,
To approve it as amended,
okay,
if we have a second from Danny's
gotcha.
motion.
Okay, so I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor of approving the consent and regular agenda as adjusted, please say aye. Aye. Okay, good. All right, time for citizens to speak, and I don't think we had anyone request to speak, and see no one making that move. Okay, so we'll move on now, and it will be time for the director's update.
Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone coming out tonight. I know that for this afternoon, it's been a crazy day weather-wise, so thank you very much for being here. I can't believe it, but we've started the last 9 weeks of the school year. So, and who thought in August that we would ever be in March? I mean, it was so far away to even contemplate. But again, as I've said every meeting, it's all about our people and the incredible job that they've done. And so there's one particular item a couple of items actually that you will be voting on this evening that are small tokens to try to recognize them again for their tremendous work and the Herculean task that they took on this year to continue on with education in Elizabethton. So again, just want to state again just how proud we are of all of our staff members. Summer school, you may have heard some about this, but there is summer school that's mandated for grades K through 8, and there was a waiver process that we could apply for, which we did. And so now our summer learning camp, which is the elementary program, and the bridge camp, which is a junior high program, will now run concurrently, and they'll be the same length. Both programs will be 4 weeks in length, 4 days a week. Also, part of the elementary program will be like an after-school type program, but we'll actually build that into the day. They'll work on a lot of STEAM type programs, and so that will be included in with the day as well. So Dr. Newman's already spent a lot of work on that along with her team, and so we'll continue to put all that together. We've had very good response from teachers that are interested in being a part of that, and we're very thankful for that. And so so more to come on that. Just wanted to point out at the end of the agenda, you'll see that our next budget workshop will be prior to the April board meeting. So that'll be at 4:45 next month. So just wanted to make sure you made note of that calendar item. ESSER 3.0 funding, as you know, both houses of Congress have passed the President's Act, and he's signed that into law. And so we should know tomorrow what the school system's portion all that funding will be. So we're very excited about that. One of the items you'll be considering this evening is a project that we hope to be able to do with a large portion of this funding. So we can even talk a little bit more about that when we get there, but we're very excited about the opportunity that those federal funds will give us to do some things in the city we wanted to do for the last 12 or 15 years. And it will also be in line with all the stipulations within that in that grant. And to be quite honest with you, the stipulations in that grant continue to come out. We're still waiting on some guidance documents, guidance information on that as well. Construction update. As you noticed, the project, the roof project at T.A. Duggar's really picked up a lot of momentum the last few weeks. The project is almost finished. Just a few more shingle work areas to do. There's some still work to do on the flat roof areas, gutters, flashing, and things like that, but it's gone very well and looks great. Just really kind of dresses up the building. If you've not been by there, it looks great. The restrooms are completed. The last phase will be some signage that will be installed next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next month as well, but some of our classes at the high school actually made the signage that we're going to put up there, so that's being painted and it'll be installed next week, so we'll share more with you on that next month. Also, the hardening of the entrance projects are completed at all three schools with the exception of just a couple of punch list items. Those spaces have been tremendous assets to those buildings. It's made all of them safer and much more orderly, people coming into and out of the building. So we're very excited about those as well. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Van Huss. Board reports next, and first, just on behalf of the board, we want to wish all of our spring sports and events, we wish them the best of luck. I know concerts and banquets and proms and all that are coming up, and we certainly hope that they'll be able to enjoy that this year, as so many people lost out on that last year. And there are a couple of items on the agenda tonight that due to relationships with board members, it calls us to basically make a declaration. So I'll lead off with that, and I declare that my spouse is employed in the school system as a teacher, but that any vote that I cast on any issue that might have an effect upon the employment of my spouse is made in the best interest of the school system. The matters to be addressed in the board meeting about which I make this declaration are the following, and that's agenda items 9C and 9E.
Let me go next. Okay, I declare that my spouse is employed in the school system as a school nutrition employee, but that any vote that I cast on issues that might have an effect upon the employment of my spouse is made in the best interest in the school system. The matters to be addressed in this board meeting about which I make this declaration are the following, items 9C and 9E.
Oh, okay, let me first say that I come from an education family, so you're going to have to wait here while I read this off. But I declare that my wife, my brother-in-law, my sister, and my nephew are employed in the school system as teachers, but that any vote that I cast on issues that might have an effect upon the employment of these family members is made in the best interest of the school system. The matters to be addressed in the board meeting about which I make the declaration are the following, agenda items 9C and 9E. And may I put in that they were well employed before I was elected to the board.
I declare that my sister is employed in the school system as a teacher, but that any vote that I cast on issues that might have an effect upon the employment of my sister is made in the best interest of the school system. The matters to be addressed in this board meeting about which I make this declaration are the following, items 9C and 9E.
It's great to live in a small town. Wilson's family may be the most intelligent of all of us. Stayed away from education. No, it's a great profession, and all of us have people involved in some way or the other. But now it's time for City Council Liaison Report. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Mike, but if you have something, come on up.
So, Mr. O'Quinn, if you go home tonight and you don't vote the right way, if you need a place to sleep, thank you, and thank you for having me out tonight to speak to you. First and foremost, I just want to start out to say I'm disappointed. I'm sure you've heard by now the funding situation between the county and the city. We want to work with them. They're our neighbors, they're our friends, and we're all county taxpayers. We are, those of us in the city are city taxpayers. It is what it is, and I'm sure you've read it in the paper, and I'm not going into detail, but again, it's just, I'm upset by it, and I think we all are, but it is what it is. We'll work through it, we'll come up with the money. That's first. We do have our annual, and we're actually going to have it, and I saw where you'd requested, Richard, to go down to your meeting, or whatever you want to call it. But the city this year, we are going to have it's called our council retreat, and it's once a year that we go down to Gatlinburg. We can't have it here in Elizabethton, but we go down to Gatlinburg. But this meeting is a 3-day budget workshop. And in this workshop, we basically go through, obviously, the budget, but we also go through a lot of other projects and programs that we're working on. So I'm telling you this tonight to tell you if there's anything that I can go to represent the Board of Education to the City Council at that workshop, it would be anything we want to look at for the 2022 year. So please get with me between now and the end, probably about the next 30 days, so I can be sure to get that on the budget workshop agenda. Because again, it's not just budget that we discuss at this meeting. We obviously can't vote at anything because it's not a public meeting. But again, it's something once a year that the council gets together and we sit down and we lay out an agenda, obviously the budget, but more importantly, we lay out the next 5-year agenda of what we want to work with on the city. So anything in particular I can help you guys with, please let me know that. So I'm your extra set of ears and eyes at the meeting for you. We do have, and again, I want to thank, more importantly, Mr. Van Hess, I want to thank you so much for all the help that you've given within our city of all the projects, special projects with the students we have going on. Our children they are our citizens, they are our future, everything. But we've got a lot of different projects going on in the city. Obviously, I've got my hands involved in just about too many things sometimes. My wife tells me that anyway. But the first thing we've got coming up next Saturday, the tree planting on the Tweetsie Trail. And we had a teacher, a Jerry Agan, reach out and volunteer 15 plus of his FAA and AG students to help us planting trees. Well, tonight I got the tree project from Keep Carter County Beautiful. Usually we plant 3 or 4 trees. We're planting about 40 or 50 trees. So we need all the students' help we can get, and we appreciate that. And any of you that want to come out and help, we're meeting right behind Grindstaff Chevrolet at the corner of Mary Patton and G Street. That's next Saturday at 10 a.m. for the tree planting. So we're very proud of that. And again, it's all part of the community. It's part of our children. It's part of the future of Elizabethton. We have, and I also want to thank you, again, another thing I'm involved with, but it's our community. It's Sycamore Shoals State Park in Liberty. We had the biggest turnout this year. Again, thank you, Mr. Van Huss. Thank you for the children that came out from the drama department. And I think that weren't all drama students there that come to want to be part of Liberty this year. They're going to get paid for the first time for their acting time when we have these reenactments. And I'm excited about that. But again, I just wanted to thank you for that. Signage on the Tweetsie Trail, we do have, I sent you an email about the trasher signs that we're doing. And we need some signage. And also, it'd be great. We're hoping to have the media there with some children carrying signs. We're going to walk the Tweetsie Trail, pick up the trash as part of like Earth Month, if you will, Earth Day, Earth Month. We're planting trees, picking up trash. But again, these children, we're going to have the media there. Plus, we're having a special event for Mr. Jordan, who is our president. A lady's coming from Memphis to give him a pretty knowledgeable award. And so we'd like to have some, if the students cannot come, maybe if they just provide us some signs that we could have, and let some of the adults carry the signs, or children. But again, it's called Trasher Size. You may have read that in the paper. But it's, again, something to get our students involved in the community, or even our young adults in high school, if they want to. It's a fun event, but again, something that the children can be involved with. And the last thing I have on my list here is, I had this for the council retreat, because we have to have legal involved, but about the Dave Ryder Memorial signage we're working on. So I'll let you know I hadn't forgot about that, but again, if you think of anything that, again, we can respect the Ryder family, what we're looking to do. We're looking right now, maybe to make like a memorial parkway or some kind of signage here within the city limits. That's what we're working on right now. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simley. Okay, and Miss Veronica, it's time for student liaison report. Do you have anything for us?
Yes. So a few students have come to me with some issues that kind of just surround being in high school. And I've worked with one student in particular on a project that will be at the middle school and at the high school. And it's essentially like a committee of students. Of course, there'll be faculty there like any other club or anything. But it's like a committee of students to have conversations and discussions around really important topics like self-defense and transphobia and proper social media usage and just issues that kind of come up in high school as part of being a teenager. So just kind of informational conversations with guest speakers from important organizations and just to kind of educate students and prepare them for growing up and stuff like that. So this is still very much in the beginning stages. But hopefully it'll go well and kick off pretty soon.
Okay. And I think we do have we have to have a successor at some point, and we do, that's official, I think, is her name out there, so I think Maggie.
Yes, Maggie Cole has
Cole.
been elected as my successor, and I'm very excited and happy to work with her a little bit. And
I hope you get a chance to work with her some before your time
absolutely
ends. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Veronica. All right. It's time to move on to the regular agenda. First item, approve an agreement between Elizabethton City Schools and France Law Group for representation to pursue damages associated with electronic cigarette litigation. Have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Second? All right. Mr. Van Huss, you want to explain?
Yes, sir. So Miss Owen, our board attorney, reached out to me, I don't know, it's probably about a month ago. They were contacted by a firm in California that's organizing this, what's called a mass action lawsuit. And it's going to be joined by school systems all over the country. And essentially what the point of the lawsuit is to hold e-cigarette companies accountable for not only their marketing strategies toward young children, but also the damage that creates. And also, as anything else, who's going to really attack that problem and take it head on and try to do something about it? It's school systems. So this allows us, if damages are awarded, we can claim things like detectors that we put in restrooms to help detect e-cigarette usage. It can also help with staffing to not only educate students on the dangers, the real dangers behind this activity, and again, just social awareness about the issue. So there's no financial burden on the school system. If there are damages awarded, the attorney fees will be taken out of that. The only thing that we're required to do is to provide some documentation. We already have purchased some of these detectors, and they're installed at the high school. So that's one thing we've already done, and we did those a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. So all that being said, this is a public health crisis. Mr. Pless set in with a webinar with Miss Owen, Mr. Shields, and the attorney from California, and kind of talked us through, and some other directors and people from around the state. And school systems all over the area, all over the country, again, are joining this by the day. And some of the information that they shared, and I think each of you may have this one-pager in your agenda information, but it was just staggering some of the statistics they used and just the level of usage in Tennessee for school-aged children, school-aged residents. We're like in the top 10 in the country in e-cigarette usage. So it is an epidemic. It is a real problem. Not only that, they shared another stat. One of these devices, and I don't know all the details about these devices, but one particular device, if they insert that cartridge and they ingest the whole cartridge in about 30 minutes, it's the equivalent of smoking 2 packs of cigarettes. The nicotine that's ingested into their body. So that just blew my mind when they shared that. So I would appreciate your consideration on this. We will work and provide them the information that they want, but educating students and the community about the dangers of this and holding them accountable. They're making billions of dollars off this industry, and a lot of it is off children. And again, they've marketed things specifically designed to attract younger people, children. So we feel like they need to be held accountable for that. We want to try to be as proactive as we can, preparing for what's going to need to be done to really curb usage in our area. So, Mr. Pless, was there anything that?
No, I appreciate you allowing me to sit in. It was a lesson to me since Mr. O'Quinn and I sat in Mr. Minton's chair. This is something that's brand new. I had no idea and was blown away. And if we can help keep our students safer, healthier, that's our biggest charge, that and educating them. So I appreciate the fact that there is somebody leading the charge, and my plan is to support that. Just I probably would have, but just hearing that, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a little bit, one other part about this litigation is that, again, we can basically sue for past monetary damages as well as into the future. Again, for staffing to provide this training, staffing to deal with the discipline associated with students. So it's a little bit different than your typical class action lawsuit. So I would appreciate your consideration and approval of this.
It's very
item.
obvious that these are big-time players. So, anyway, any other comments, questions there? Okay, item is to approve the agreement between Elizabethton City Schools and France Law Group for representation to pursue damages associated with electronic cigarette litigation. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, item's approved. Next item, and we'll combine B and C. Approve first reading of revised board policy 5.100, goals and objectives, 1.700, schools district goals with markups. C, approve first reading of 5.310, vacations and holidays, 5.303, personal and professional leave, and 5.302, sick leave with the markups. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Second, okay?
Okay, so bear with me, and I'll try to talk through these, and after each one, I'll kind of pause and see if you have any questions. Feel free to just get my attention there. The first two go together, so 5.100 and 1.700, the goals and objectives, and then the school district goals. The big change is the state's passed legislation asking school districts to focus on diversity in hiring staff. And part of this new legislation is that in 21-22, school systems will work together with help from the state, with some guidance from the state, on putting together a plan on how we will look to that in the future to make sure we're doing our due diligence, again, to be as diverse as we possibly can. So that's essentially what's led to these two agenda items, or these two policies being discussed today. So again, we have the 21-22 school year to put all of that, to put our plan together. And then once we do that, we'll bring that back to the board and share that with you for you to approve as well. Questions on that? Either of those? Okay. The next three go together as well. So 5.310 is vacation and holidays. 5.303 is professional and personal leave. And then 5.302 is sick leave. So I'll step through these as well. So on vacation and holidays, as you know, last year, due to the end of the year and the pandemic, we allowed professional staff that's eligible for vacation, we allowed them to roll over all those vacation days. Well, in an effort to try to get back on our normal policy, which is you can carry over 10 of those days, each year, we're allowing staff that, again, is eligible for vacation to roll over 15 days just for this school year. And then next year, we'll revert back to the 10. So we just don't want to create a situation where we have staff feeling forced to take vacation at the end of the year. As we talked earlier, we're going to have summer school. And so, we certainly don't want, especially the bulk of its administrators, them being out of the building during that time. So we're trying to kind of balance that out. So really, it's going to be a 2-year process to kind of phase back into utilizing those days. So that's the change that we're requesting on 5.310. On 5.303, on lines 7, 8, and 9, you'll notice there it says, as a result of COVID-19, at the end of the 2021 school year, 4 unused days again, this is professional leave, can be carried over to 4 equivalent sick days. So this is for professional personnel, again, for the same reason. We don't want the personal leave, if you don't use it, you lose it. So in this case, we want to allow them at least the opportunity, if they don't use it, that it can roll over to full sick days. And then if they have any others beyond that, they'll roll into half sick days. And then if you notice on the second page, it deals with support personnel. We've never had a policy for support personnel when it comes to personal leave. Again, if you either use it or you lose it. So we've added this, and this change will be, our proposal is this would be a change from now on. And basically on page 2 there, it says at the end of the current school year, 1 unused personal day will be converted to 1 equivalent sick day, and the remaining days can be carried over to those half sick days. So they have an opportunity, instead of just losing those days, they can be rolled over to sick days. And again, we've not had that before. If you notice the last line there on 16, it says, bus drivers shall be compensated at the end of each fiscal year for unused personal days. And the reason we're treating bus drivers differently, bus drivers do not receive sick leave. So we have to find some way in what we're adding up above to let them have some benefit for those unused days. As you know, it's very hard to get bus drivers. We have no subs. It's very difficult when they miss. So this is a way we feel like that may be an incentive for them to not use those, and we would pay them the daily rate for those at the end of each school year. And then the last one, 5.302, it basically just addresses what we just talked about, the fact that bus drivers don't get sick leave. We just put it in the sick leave policy. Before, it was in personal leave, and it didn't really make sense to be there. So this is more of a housekeeping item to include that in the policy we feel is appropriate. Any question on those?
Questions or comments? Okay. Item on the floor is to approve the first reading of revised board policy 5.100 goals and objectives, 1.700 school district goals with markups, 5.310 vacations and holidays, 5.303 personal and professional leave, and 5.302 sick leave with markups. All those approved, say aye. Aye. And all those opposed, motion carries. Next item, approve Thomas Weems, architect, to complete plan and design work for a proposed classroom addition at Tia Duggar Junior High School. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second?
Second.
Second, all right.
Okay, so this is pretty exciting for those of us that have been around for a while. It was probably 12 to 15 years ago. The school system presented to the city of Elizabethton a capital projects plan, and there were 3 major projects included in that plan. One was an addition at Tia Duggar, a new football stadium at Elizabethton High School, along with a new band room complex at the high school, music room. As you know, we've already completed 2 of those, and the nature of the projects required that those 2 projects that have been completed be completed first. And so that's what happened. And so we've kind of been in a holding pattern since those were completed due to funding to find a way to do this third and equally important project. And so with the influx of this ESSER 3.0 money, we anticipate receiving enough money from that along with maybe some half-cent sales tax and maybe even some from the general fund if needed, we should be able to complete the project at T.A. Duggar. This is long overdue. As you know, that project will address handicapped accessibility over the entire building. It will also add some extra restrooms. We've already renovated the ones that are there, but we can also add a few more toward the middle of the building. It will also allow us to spread out students throughout the building. As you know, that building is, I guess it's 81 years old now. So the classrooms weren't built for classrooms in 2021. So this will allow us to spread out, which will help us with social distancing and all those things. Who knows how long that's going to be in place? That may be the new norm, something similar to that. So, but anyway, so the purpose of this particular item is to allow Mr. Weems to begin some preliminary work on finalizing the plans. Since we originally had plans drawn up, again, I guess it was 12 years ago, building codes have changed, so we can actually change a design that's actually in our favor from a budget standpoint. So there's work that he needs to do to have that project ready, because there's been some question about the date on when these ESSER 3.0 funds have to be spent. At this point, it could be pushed out further, but at this point, what we've been told is that all the funds have to be expended by September of 2023. And you were talking about a major construction project, that's not very long. And we're not going to be the only school system that's looking at doing some capital projects. So if you approve this tonight, that lets us get the process moving and try to get out on the front end of these projects as we start receiving this money and getting approval. Now, what I would tell you is that the work he will do on the front end will be very minimal. It'll be very, very small investment on the school system side. However, if we receive the funding and the project is approved, at that point in time, it would become the entire project. And anything he's done on this preliminary side will be counted as part of his fee in the whole project. So we're not throwing any money away. And if we, at some point in time, we're going to do the project, whether it's this year or hopefully 4 or 5 years from now when some of our bonds come off and we can refinance. So the work he's doing will not be wasted, whether we can do the problem this year or 5 years down the road. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of, it's really exciting. I was fortunate to be involved with the design of this project, again, 15 years ago. And most people up here were involved in one way or the other. So it's exciting to see that maybe coming to fruition.
Now, can I ask you, because I know there was so much discussion in this room 5 or 6 or 7 years ago when there was the 3 projects and, trying to put the pieces together and why the stadium and the band room were went together. It had to do with cost and trying to pair 2 items together.
That's right.
And I know things have changed, and I know building costs have exploded, but out of curiosity, do you remember what an estimated cost then was for the T.A. Duggar program? I just could not remember.
It was somewhere around, I want to say it was around $4.7 million at least, maybe closer to 5, but again, I think I mentioned the fact that the building codes have changed since then, and it's actually changed in our favor. So obviously, there's an increase in materials. That's a given, from 5 years ago to now. But again, the design has been simplified, that it's offset those increased costs, plus again a little bit more in our favor. So we've had a rough estimate at this point. It would be somewhere around a 4 point. By the time we did fees for Mr. Weems and the project, it's somewhere south of $5 million. So probably 4.8, 4.9 million is probably what we're looking at to do the entire project.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I have no idea about this, but will we still have the classrooms that are behind the gym now?
No, those portables, that's the location. So those portables, which again, that's a funny word, portables, they've been there for probably 50 years. But those portables would be gone, yes.
Okay.
So in theory, we lose 2 classrooms, but again, those classrooms are on their last leg. I mean, that's the reality. Our maintenance staff's done a tremendous job of keeping them functional and all that, but again, they're 50 years old. But that is the location that the new addition will be, so those would be gone, yes. But it would be it's a two-story addition that would tie the entire second floor along with the crow's nest all together. It would also eliminate the issue that we have if we have someone that's handicapped that may be in a wheelchair, to get from the main floor level of the building up to the gym level, you have to go outside and around a ramp because there's no ramp inside. So this would take care of all those issues that, quite frankly, we need to do. So it meets a host of needs. It also gives the school a chance to build some classrooms focused on science and engineering, because there are, again, those classrooms, the labs, again, were built in 1940. So labs are a lot different than they were in 1940. Electrical usage, all those things are so much different. So it's really going to positively impact the educational experiences that junior high kids have, which will put them that much further on a good path as they enter the high school with all the incredible programs we have there.
One more question, please.
Yes, sir.
This is not going to affect how I vote, but is there going to be any way, this addition is not going to be connected to the building and physically connected?
Yes, it will be connected to the building. So that's one of the things
because I'm thinking about people having to walk out there and.
Absolutely. So that's the big thing that's changed between the old building codes to now. As you know, that campus, the media center and the band room are separate. At that point in time, you could not connect anything to the building without sprinkling the entire building. The building code is now as such that you can connect as long as you build firewalls. You do have to sprinkle, but only the new addition. You don't have to sprinkle the existing.
Well, that's a safety issue too, because like at the end of school day, you've got traffic coming up back there, and
Absolutely.
Basketball, volleyball, unless you've got buses, softball, baseball, you got buses coming in and out back there at certain
Yes.
times. So that's really good. It's going
Yeah.
to be connected. Yeah.
It's just really exciting to just think that we may be this close. All the work and effort and focus that the school system put on this 15 years ago, we're that close. And we appreciate the city's support for those other projects. And I just feel like it's the right thing to do. We've talked about this being a need. It is a need. And if we have the funding to do it, I feel like that's our responsibility to try to do it. So, again, I appreciate your consideration for this item as well.
The funds, the ESSER funds, they do allow capital projects of what you.
Yes, they do. They do. All of the stipulations aren't out there yet. Basically, again, what we've been told are they're going to really focus on, you have to be able to tie in things like what we've talked about. Class size, being able to spread kids out and those type things, which is right in line with what we're talking about doing. There may be a portion of it that we have to spend in certain ways. 20% they're saying has to be focused on learning loss, but there's a way that we can maneuver that money and use some of our general purpose or potentially that half-cent sales tax excess to help bridge that gap. So.
Who does the approving once we submit what we want to do? Is that through the federal government?
It goes to the state.
The state,
So
okay.
there's a local. I'm trying to think what his title is, but there's someone in the region that does that, and then it goes on to another level at the state. Beyond that, I don't think it actually ever goes to the federal government for official approval, but it's like every level, those individuals are held accountable for whatever they approve. So they'll have guidelines to follow too, and I'm sure if there's an issue, they would kick it back. So we would have all of that approved before we went down that long road.
Oh, yeah.
So.
That's exciting.
It is exciting, yeah. Anything else? Okay, item is to approve Thomas Weems, architect, to complete plan and design work for a proposed classroom addition at T.A. Duggar Junior High School. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, last item, approve 141 general purpose 2020-2021 budget amendment number 1, which appropriates an employee bonus. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay,
This is another item that's a long time coming. We've talked about this since, early fall. Just a little bit of quick background here, but again, when the governor added money to the BEP formula for salaries. The problem was the money that he's allocated at this point in time is not recurring. So there's no guarantee that come July 1 that funding will be there. The governor has, in his budget, in his proposed budget, he has a 4% increase on BEP funding. And keep in mind that BEP funding does not fund every position that we have. And historically, Elizabethton City Schools, when we have done any kind of an increase, any kind of a raise, we've done it across the board to everyone that's employed, not just the teaching staff, but the support staff as well. And I think that's the right thing to do because it takes a village. It takes everyone involved to put the effort and that needs to be there for educating our children. So with that in mind, the fact that it's not recurring really forces us into a situation where we're doing a bonus rather than something that would be recurring. Now, again, as we get closer, that's one reason we pushed the next budget workshop till April. We're hoping to have a BEP estimate by then that will give us a better feel about where we're going to be there. I mean, there are no promises. You know, last year there was a 4% increase to BEP funding, and then it became 0. And again, a lot of that had to do with the pandemic, so that's understandable. So again, there's another 4%. So we'll just have to see if that comes to fruition before we do that. So, but again, I just want to say how much I appreciate Miss Wilson. She's been great. She's been able to answer questions for me, and we're very fortunate to have her in Elizabethton City Schools and her staff. She does a great job of keeping all of us straight. She is a real asset, and so she's been invaluable through this process, working this out. So the proposal before you is to provide every full-time employee in Elizabethton City Schools a $600 bonus. Those assistants that are 5 hours would receive $400, and then we'll have a prorated scale for individuals that we employ that work less hours than that. $600 is not much. We wish we could give more, but at least it's something that we can give to them. Again, it's paltry compared to what they've done this year. I mean, it's incredible. I sound like a broken record, but we're so proud of our people and their dedication to the students of this city. And so this is a small token, again, that will maybe help them. Hopefully they'll understand how much we appreciate them. Again, when you put the two funding pots together, the BEP portion of this and then the local that we had to add to it, it's almost $250,000 to just do this. So that'll kind of give you an idea of the type of funding that we need to be able to do these things. So anyway, I'm excited about the opportunity to do this. Again, we wish it's more. We wish it was more, but at least it's a small token to try to tell them how much we appreciate them.
I just want to echo, make sure people understand too, you know, not only are they teaching the kids that show up in person, there's still several kids on virtual learning that they have to teach as well and responsible for as well. So they're double dutying it. And I agree with Richard. It's a small token, but at least it's something. And I just want to echo my thanks to those teachers who have put in the time. I know several of them that I've talked to personally spend hours every evening doing emails and catching up with those students on virtual learning. I would not want to be doing what they're doing, so I just want to say thank you to them as well.
That's one reason those Wednesdays have been so valuable, is to allow them. It's literally, my analogy is, they're in a tank of water and the water's over their head. That Wednesday gives them a chance to get up and get a gulp of air and go back down and make it through the next week. They're doing double work, just like you said. So what should we be giving them? Double salary is what we should be giving them, but obviously we can't do that. But again, just very, very proud.
I'd just like to say one thing, and I echo what you say, Dane, but also let's not forget our support staff.
Oh, absolutely.
They've worked a lot of extra hours and have been under a lot of pressure to meet the needs of the students and the teachers. And so let's not forget them, and I'm glad that they're able to get something also.
Absolutely. And when you think about the salaries of those positions, much of the support staff, this $600 in a lot of ways is going to mean more to them because it's a larger percentage of their, compared to their salary. So like we said before, we've historically done that as a school system, and I think that's the right thing to do. So,
Anything else? Again, we do appreciate all those, the teachers and everybody, and again, we know if we need money, where we go to, and that's to Miss Wilson, who has all the money. So again, item is to approve 141 general purpose 2020-2021 budget amendment number 1, which appropriates an employee bonus. And all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held Thursday, April 15th, 2021 at 5:30. And please be reminded that prior to that, at 4:45, we will have our next budget workshop. So I need somebody to make a motion to leave.
I think you do, yeah.
Okay, do I
I'll
have
make
a
a
motion?
motion to approve, to
To
There
adjourn?
we
Do I
go.
have a second?
I'll second that.
Second. Have a good evening. I couldn't remember. Did I not? I was just ready to go. Yeah.